Hey folks, how's everybody doing? I'm having a good time at home, where I prefer to be. For lunch today, I'm having rice and Shanghai style noodles. There's a little bit of beef in there. Yep. I do love this. Is a comfort meal to end all comfort meals. I could be dying of the DTs and still be able to eat this stuff. It's unbelievable. I wanted to tell you three intimate stories. They're fact based, and the facts of my life are more interesting than the contours of my personality or my status or popularity. Um, the first is the story of my primal scene. Okay, so in Freud, the primal scene is usually fairly typical. But Freud uses examples, always saying there's other types of examples for these sorts of phenomena, but we have to look at them until we understand them clearly. For Freud, the primal scene is basically walking in on your parents having sex and not knowing what it is that's happening and being kind of concerned and lost. And your world's just been shaken. And that can be one version of it, and there's variations on it. I read a while back about Alfred Hitchcock's primal scene. Is a story he tells that I feel like is his primal scene of his father taking him to the police station and telling the police just to lock him up for just a few minutes, just to scare the shit out of him. And it worked. James Joyce had a similar one. His primal scene was some crazy Irish guy running around screaming that the sky was going to come down and that God was here and it was all over. And little James Joyce ran and hid under a table and just waited like a really long time, as he described it. I did have a girlfriend whose primal scene was walking in on her parents having sex. That's the only person I've ever known who's told me that. But even better, her version of the story then progressed where like her little girlfriends would be over and she'd have a suspicion what her parents were up to. She'd be like, "Come check this shit out. Come on, just book the door." Anyway, she was this close to selling tickets. My primal scene happened in Hawaii. I'm not kidding. I was 10 or 11, around the same age when I was starting guitar and hockey, both around 10. I couldn't have been much older than that, I don't think. Although it seems weird that I would have been in Hawaii as a little kid. But it probably would have been one of my first major trips anywhere. And I got to Hawaii and I had chicken pox. As soon as I got there, I was really sick with the chicken pox and feverish and confused. And anyway, in Hawaii, what I believed I saw on television, and I thought it was like a music video or something. Anyway, I'm alone in the hotel room watching, and there's two female wrestlers, and they're going at it. And then the one is down and badly hurt, and the other's like poking her and teasing her and causing her more pain. And then like her like ringside manager brings over like an instrument, like a baster, like a kitchen implement of some kind, and the victorious woman digs it into like the thigh of the other woman and is like working on her with it. That's what I remember seeing and just being absolutely horrified. Just I couldn't fucking believe it. And it might have just been something that was on television. Partially, I was feverish. But I was horrified. I want to help that lady. And then, okay, I'll have a little bit of a bite before this one. So, I'm not going to name anybody or do anything to embarrass anybody. Nobody's going to not recognize anybody. I'm going to tell you the story, though, of the late afternoon I lost my virginity. So my family lived out on a acreage. We moved out there when I was 13, I think, something like that. And we're out there until I graduated high school. They did actually. Everybody moved after that. Uh, and so we were on the acreage. Until I was 16, it was hard to get around with a car or anything like that. But at this point, I did have a car. I was 17. It was my last year in high school. And the girl had sex with was 16, which is perfectly reasonable. And but what the weird thing was, we're way out there. I'm not aware that she's like handing out our landline phone number to people, but we're in the middle of it. It's going awkwardly. We're both new at this. The phone rings, and she says, fuck, that might be my brother. I, of course, I had no idea that her brother had my phone number, or I have the family phone number. I was like, blah, blah, blah. So I went and answered it. And it was her brother. And then she talked to him for a bit on the phone because there was something going on. And then afterwards, she's like, all right, let's, get back to it. And we sort of didn't. uh, okay. So, there's one story, there's a lot of bad stories about what a fucking pitiful alcoholic I am and was. Certainly much more in active alcoholism than in sobriety. Much bigger prick. But I like kind of a story my ex sometimes likes to tell about me. Which is that you want to understand what it's like being with Jason. So one night we're driving, and he's drunk like every day, and he's operating the motor vehicle fine. He kind of makes a bit of a slip up. Somebody honks at him, and so Jay just follows the guy. I'm like, Jay, stop! No, don't do this, Jason! Fucking Christ! And so I follow the guy a certain distance. He stops, gets out. I stop. I get out. I walk toward him like I know what I'm doing, and I never do. I don't really know how to fight until somebody punches me in the face, and then I know everything about it all of a sudden. But he looked at me, and I looked at him, and this was coincidence, and he just fucking did a backward somersault in the middle of the street with the guy standing looking at a jaw agape, truly, literally. And then he got back up again. He's like, all right, man, you want a piece of this? Yeah. So if I'm doing stuff like that, like every couple of weeks, like for years, it's a dicey setup, a dicey proposition. But those are all true stories. I like all of them. They're all extraordinarily characteristic. And I don't think I could have done a better job of getting 3 stories. When I used to introduce films for Calgary Cinematheque, at first I started to I would go on too long. I could lose the audience. Somebody finally clapped to get me to shut up one time. And after that, I was like, all right, 3 points, 3 main points. Every time you get up there, you have 3 main points, and you try to get off the fucking stage as fast as you can. And it always works. I always end up doing a pretty good introduction when I approach it that way. And I never go on too long. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to continue my lunch, which is awesome. Sayonara, gangsters.